Terry was one of the founders, one of the leaders of Mize, one of the principals, and that he was very successful.
He began here at Mize in about 1966, I believe it was. We bought our first IBM computer in about 67 that was an IBM System 3 that took up about 8 feet wide and 3 feet deep and 5 feet tall, that had less compute power and storage than a smartphone today.
Their firm is nationally known for its expertise in the data processing area. They started very early on, decades ago, and I think they were one of the few CPA firms in the country that had that type of capabilities. Highly regarded and nationally known in his field.
He always brought integrity to work with him every day in terms of his relationships with staff, with the management group, and with all of our clients.
Terry is an accountant by background and ended up managing the IT department. All of us who worked with him and for him knew that he would always give us just enough rope to hang ourselves.
A business article that was in the Capital Journal in the year 2000, Terry was quoted in that article as saying that he had always tried to keep Mize on the leading edge of technology, but not the bleeding edge of technology. And I think that was certainly one of the guidelines, if you will, that he followed over the years. Even though he retired from Mize in 2006, he's still working 20 hours a week or so for American Home Life.
Terry had operational responsibilities here and helping oversee our computer work, but he's also been on our board for 30-some years, and he's just been a superb board member. He's just been absolutely key to me, and I think to my predecessors as well.
So with working part-time and the amount of time that he spends with his church, I think he has a pretty full schedule.
Known a lot of people who are really involved in the community, but I think I could say that Terry is as concerned for the community as anyone I've ever known. So that in our Tuesday morning men's study, for example, if something comes up about the community or about a need, he's always very interested. Talks about his desire to not only be involved in the church, but involved in the community. It's a big deal to him.
Terry's always been very involved in the community. I know early in his career he was in 2030. And then at some point in probably the 70s, he and a group of other civic leaders, including Eldon Danenauer, were big supporters and helped make places such as the Expo Center and the airport happen. In 1983, he was the chairman of the Topeka Chamber of Commerce and has just continued to remain active. He's been on the library board and any number of things.
Clearly his family was a very important part of his life as well.
Terry's been married to one wife, Judy, and Leanne and Carrie are the daughters that he loves, and they've always been supportive of him, both at the business and in the community.
He didn't achieve what he achieved by working 40-hour weeks, I'm certain.
They are part and parcel of the Kimes family. They absolutely supported Terry and all of the work he did here and the work he did in the community. They're just lovely, lovely people. I've known Terry for over 40 years through my association with Mize and got to know him better 35 years ago when we were neighbors. We lived in a neighborhood of people our age and lots of fun folks. We did lots of fun things together. In fact, in years since, I've had to remind him that I knew him before he was Terry the Good.
He's probably most proud, or at least most happy about the fact that at a time in his life he chose Jesus Christ to be his personal Savior. I think his church involvement, his community involvement, everything else sort of now flows out of that. Because he has this desire to be a mentor, he's actually been one of my confidants whenever I've had trouble the last 20 years or so forth. He's been extremely helpful to me. He has this heart to be a mentor.
Terry has a very clear and recognizable passion for teaching the Bible, and he's very effective in that leadership role because of his depth of knowledge and a presentation that is very non-threatening.
Terry's always been a big runner since the mid-'80s, I suppose. Run multiple marathons, and still you'll see him out on the streets of Topeka running.
I think Terry's run in 5 marathons. He's, I think, 71 years of age. He still runs. He runs, I think, sub 8-minute miles. He's not a jogger, he's a runner.
He will not stop running. He will not stop exercising. I have no idea why anyone would ever love to go running, outside, but he runs miles and miles and miles.
He just keeps tremendously fit and is very disciplined about it, and I think it's a great release and great therapy for him.
Probably integrity is behind Christ is probably the most important word to him. He really, 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 really wants to be known as a person who, when he says something, he'll do it. That he's a man of his word. He's faithful at home and at work. That's huge to him.
He's extremely helpful. Not once in a while, but every single time, and you can always rest assured that it doesn't go any further. And I just have absolute confidence in him as a person.